has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the best attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shug it up, should do be should do be Hey, along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the master of ceremonies, the original founder of the ILC podcast, and of course, the rights holder to the sheet of integrity, Carver High this afternoon, ladies. Mafia is running up with Luke, I am your father. A rundown on a Thirsty Thursday, a double shot with Morency from Sports Rage from Vancouver in the first hour, and then in the third and final hour, Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider. I do have inside information, Carver High, today that it is Adam's birthday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How about that for Adam today on C2C? We'll give him a big happy birthday later on when he joins us here in the final hour today on C2C. Happy Thursday for you today, Scotty. It is a Thursday, and we do have a lot to do. NFL Week 16 does start tonight.
Pain day.
We have Pain Day. We love Pain Day. Pain Day is great. I mean, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday.
Pain Day.
I mean, this is just the next week. You're just loaded with Pain Day. I mean, we got the Irish and the Hoosiers tomorrow night in the college playoffs. I mean, this is just as good as it gets. That's for sure. Chargers and the Broncos this evening will get us going. Broncos can clinch a playoff berth with a win. Orange Sherbert against Bo Nix tonight. And I saw this today, too. Did you know that they are tied, along with the Eagles, the three teams that have given up the least amount of points in the NFL this year? So two of the best defenses, Broncos and Chargers, with a very low total that we'll talk about later, getting ready in SoFi this evening.
Are we going to get a little under drama tonight in Lipstick City at the SoHi? Are we going to get a little under drama?
You probably will, and I just hope that unlike last Thursday, we had an under last Thursday, but nobody scored any touchdowns. Can we at least have a couple touchdowns, even if it's an under tonight? Because I mean, you know me, I want touchdowns this evening, at least a couple. Even in an under game, you give me 2 or 3 touchdowns from somebody, preferably the guys that we're going to give you,
as you know,
today on C2C. That would be better.
If there's a bad game, I always resort to changing to hockey.
Well, you got a lot of that tonight, by the way. It's a very thick slate in the NHL. There's tons of games. So you can always switch over to that. And don't forget, you've got, who is it tonight? The New Orleans Bowl with Georgia Southern, right? Is that
side of the Super Bowl? We're going to get an early look at the Super Bowl tonight with Georgia Southern playing. Can't wait for that.
Sam Houston State, right? Georgia Southern and Sam Houston State. We spent a lot of Tuesdays and Wednesdays watching Sam Houston State, so we should have.
And I heard their entire team is in the portal.
The coach went to Temple. The entire team's in the portal, but a couple of them are actually going to play. Even we will talk about the New Orleans Bowl later on here. I've got a lot of NFL news and notes today, along with tonight's game. I saw Andy Reid say just about an hour ago that Patrick Mahomes is likely to start on Saturday. What a shock that is. I guess he's all right. I guess Patrick's going to be okay. Also on the injury front, T.J. Watt said today that he feels good, but he was we'll see is what he said about Saturday. We'll see. I hope we'll see means yes, that he'll be out there. That's what we'll see needs to be for T.J. Watt on Saturday.
Yeah, he said he feels really good about it. He goes, I feel good. I'm pretty positive about it. So I've seen different versions of it. I think he's playing.
I think he's going to play as well at this point. It is. I mean, this is it. There's 3 weeks left. You got a chance to win the North on Saturday. What are we going to do? Sit in the press box and watch?
This is a divisional title heavyweight match. Speaking of
That is not at
heavyweights,
all.
I know that you don't care, but you should. Usyk and Fury this Saturday.
Did you see them stare at each other for 11 minutes this morning? So they did the face-off, I guess the press conference, the 2 days before gig. They stood on the stage and they stared at each other for 11 minutes. Nobody blinked. Nobody moved. They just sat there staring at each other, nose to nose. What riveting television that was for 11 minutes watching those two guys.
I'm telling you,
do that.
Listen, your boy talks a lot, but he got dropped by this guy as much as he got dropped by Wilder in that first fight. This guy, Usyk, means business. And remember, he's never lost, and he also is the undisputed heavyweight champion. He also says, literally, he's fighting for dead people and soldiers and a country. He says, I'm not fighting for money. I'm fighting for Ukraine and all the dead and all those fighting for our country. And I'm fighting to beat Russia. So this guy, I think he's going to kill him. I think he's going to actually tip him over again. I think Fury says, I'm going to take it seriously this time. Yeah, sure, you didn't take it seriously the last time, you fat ass. I think Usyk is going to go right through him because he's got a higher calling.
Well, I can assure you this. I'm glad that Usyk is fighting for more important values. Fury's fighting for money. He's not fighting for anything else but money. That's all that Tyson Fury's going to be out there for on Saturday night.
With a Ukrainian pro basketball player who fled the country with his family to not die because his entire town was blown to pieces, and he plays ball with me in the morning. My guy, Vova. You should see this guy play basketball.
Whoa.
He climbs the trees. He is not afraid to take it inside on 7-footers. My man plays pro in Ukraine, and he means business on the basketball court. You give this white boy the ball, he goes and finishes.
You got to take it to the rack. That's just how it goes sometimes. Take it to the rack. We have 13 games in the NBA tonight after nobody playing last night. 13 games, including, I guess you would call this the main event, and that is the Knicks and the Timberwolves. Cat returning to Minnesota tonight. Then you've got, of course, Randall and DiVincenzo on the other side. So the first time these teams are getting together in a real game setting since that trade this summer.
And also, isn't a Dubs Grizzlies calling in Memphis?
There is. The Dubs are in Memphis against the Yes. So that's an 8 o'clock East tip. Grizzlies are favored, by the way, in that game, -2.5.
Well, I mean, the Dubs have fallen apart after their great start. They've fallen apart.
What a shame it is for them. What a shame that they've fallen apart. So we will go through all of that. I got lots of college. Like I said, there's a bowl game tonight. We are a day away from Indiana and Notre Dame in South Bend, the first game of the college football playoffs. So we have. I know. Hey, how about that North Dakota team against Alabama last night in college rack? They covered and
some guy had
played
40.
Pretty well. That was a wild game.
Had 40. And the first guy to ever do it for a small school against a power.
Yeah, that was a wild game. So we've got tons of college
basketball tonight is the worst night ever. It really is.
It was tough to find 5 games to put on one board tonight for college basketball. But the low-hanging fruit.
Belmont.
Yeah, that's a good one. That made the board, the Anteaters in Belmont. That's on there, I believe. I think we do have that. So full night.
in Georgia. What a thrill for everyone.
Yeah.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 Eastern along all of our outlets. Whenever there's a football game on, like Monday, Thursday, Sunday, you get Morency loaded and locked, ready to fire, and it is awesome. But we get him every day on Coast to Coast with a double shot.
I'm not
and
loaded.
We've been talking about people shooting people here, actually. They brought that guy in from Pennsylvania, your boy Luigi, and gave him the full red carpet treatment perp walk with the mayor and everybody else and like 150 cops. I mean, what a scene that was. And boy, you know he's going to really enjoy Rikers Island during this time of year. It's always festive at Rikers during the holidays.
I just wonder if somebody shot you or me, if the mayor would show up, Scott, for the arrest.
No.
We'd get such a spectacle. I think Law and Order, FBI, and every other cop show has their scripts written for next season already. But hey, New York is always hopping, and you know that was a wild scene. And then you got the wild news that the Jets are operating on what Johnson's kid says off of Madden ratings as well. Never a dull day in New York City.
So I have to tell you, I was just saying. I was watching the news last night, and it was just one murder after the next, one hit and run after the next, one wrong way crash after the next. And then I'm sitting there having dinner, and I said to 34C, I said, God, the news here is awesome. It's just the news is just fantastic. They do murder, hit and run, rape, weather, 2-minute sports, out.
I get a lot of channels, Scott. So I get a lot of different news. Like I got the Boston news, LA, New York. So like I've got all these different cities and local newscasts. But for my money, the LA newscast, that's the one to go with, Scott. They're all different. Yeah,
that one's car chases. That's
LA is car chase central.
The same every day. They don't have the murders we have. Come on.
People have been killed in L.A. before, Scott.
Well, yeah,
I'm going to break the news for you.
Listen, I lived there forever. I know. It's not. It is nothing. Nothing compares to New York. Nothing. Like a guy will go into a bodega to rob the guy, and the guy that owns the bodega will blow his head off. I mean, you just can't. You can't. It's just top shelf. I mean, it is just awesome.
Yeah, because they're going to collect their money at the bodega, and the Jets and Giants keep losing. That's why they're shooting the customers.
So I got to ask you, big game tonight for Vancouver and Vegas. Is that the game of the night tonight in Sin City?
You know what? The Vancouver Canucks last night, wild game in Utah. We'll give credit to Utah last night, at least for the atmosphere in that building, Scott. It was rocking. Like, it really was rocking. And they might have given away 2,000 of the tickets. But I'll give the owner credit for that as well. This owner, the Ryan Smith guy that owns the Utah Jazz and the hockey club, doing a great job. You know, a lot of teams, Scott, would be like, all right, we have 700 unsold tickets or 2,000 unsold tickets. He gives them away. I've never really seen that before. Like, he actually, you know, he went on X yesterday. He said, all right, guys, I got 700 extra tickets tonight. And it's smart because people haven't seen hockey live before. So you get people to come in once.
Right.
And maybe they want to come back after. And they're like, wow, look at this atmosphere. And that building was rocking. You would have thought they won the Stanley Cup last night. The overtime was amazing. And I don't know how Vancouver didn't score. Like, they went back and forth in overtime. Utah wins with like 11 seconds left. So it's kind of a bad spot for Vegas tonight. And for Vancouver in Vegas tonight, Scott. Guys, when this new road trip of Salt Lake and then someone else and back-to-back isn't ending well for teams, right? It's like the old Salt Lake-Denver NBA trip. It's a nightmare, right? You know, you're playing in altitude. You're playing in different time zones. The time zone's the same for the Canucks, but this is a tough spot for Vancouver tonight. I understand why they're plus 145 underdogs, but Demko played last night, so that means Lankinen will be between the pipes tonight. Lankin's awesome on the road. They could be a live dog tonight, but tough spot for them. And am I crazy that I'm actually looking forward to the Georgia Southern game tonight, Scott, against Sam Houston? I think we can make some money on that.
Yeah, I'm on Georgia Southern because that whole Sam Houston team is transferring. They're like not in the game.
Last night, UNLV got it done. Did you know that the last 10 interim coaches had lost? All right, like, it's a really tough spot to be in. You know, when the coaches leave, the coaching staff leaves, you got a couple of days, you're kind of on your own. UNLV did it last night with the wide receiver coach. They still had their defensive coordinator in the building at least, so there was a bit of semblance. But as you stated, the staff has gotten blown up here at Sam Houston. I can live with players, Scott, leaving. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. We've seen, the USA had a backup quarterback kid played well, South Alabama. It's hit or miss with the players and all that transfer stuff, but really difficult when you lose your coach, right? And the assistants, and especially if that coach brought everybody there. And that's kind of the instance there at Sam Houston going to Temple right now. So I think, Georgia Southern. Remember Clay Helton, guys? That's right, Clay Helton, who got ran out of USC. And I find it kind of ironic, if you look at this, Scott, if you think back on this, Clay Helton kind of had a better record than Lincoln Riley does every year there. And they ran him out of town. Remember? It was like, we're not a 9-win program. You went 9-3, Clay Helton. You guys would kill to go 9-3 right now.
Right.
Man, Lincoln Riley's making like literally $20 million a year to go 6-6. All right, so Clay Helton, it's Georgia Southern only, Scott, but he's got this thing clicking there, bro. It's been a couple of years now. Great job by Clay Helton. Give me Helton and Georgia Southern tonight.
And you know what's funny is I see no signs of all this USC turnaround. Where is it? Like, their quarterback left.
No.
Now they got another guy. Like, he has not done a good job. And he's out telling people, I'm a USC man. I don't want another job. How long are they going to put up with him losing?
It's funny he's saying that in the same way now that Aaron Rodgers is willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Jets. Yeah, because nobody wants you. You realize, all right, my act is kind of thin here, so I better drop the attitude. You're right. Lincoln Riley is the most egotistical coach of college football. Yeah, I'm a USC man for life. Dude, they want to run your ass out of L.A. now. No wonder you want to stay there. Now, listen, he's going to be rich no matter what. But I completely agree with you, Scott. They're going backwards, this program, not forwards.
They sure are.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but we were just talking about Indiana and Notre Dame starting off the playoff tomorrow night with Gabe in the break. What's your feeling about that game? Freezing, snow, the whole deal, but they're both used to that. They both play in cold. They play Purdue in the snow. They're not afraid of the snow, Indiana. It's cold in Bloomington, freezing ass.
Yeah, I don't think weather is going to affect the teams from a football perspective. As you stated, they practice in this stuff. They live in this stuff.
That's
and
right.
You and I have talked about different levels of cold.
Yeah.
Right. And, people throw around the cold term. It's funny. I don't know if you guys saw the Kyler Murray. People tuning in. It was a funny clip of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I saw it.
He goes, oh, shit. That was too good. Scott, and it said 35 degrees. That's not that cold, 35 degrees.
That's
know
nothing.
What I mean? Yeah, like in the real world. The one game, and I'm looking at the South Bend weather right now. The one game that it will be cold, the Penn State game. Like, they're talking about, 17 degrees and stuff. All right, I'm not going to lie. I don't want to sit there. Yeah, I don't want to sit there at 17 degrees. 35 is yeah, whatever. It's 32, whatever, dude. 32 in South Bend tomorrow night. 12-mile-an-hour winds. It could be some snow showers. We'll see about that. But, listen. It's all about how Notre Dame handles this pressure, right? I mean, I like what they talked about. Every game was kind of a playoff game for them after they played against Northern Illinois, right? I mean, they couldn't lose another game. We all knew that. So they have been playing under pressure all year. This is a different level, and it's funny because everyone complains about Indiana's schedule. Indiana played a tougher schedule than Notre Dame did, right? So. This isn't this is not a step up in class for Indiana, really. Right? Notre Dame aren't better than Ohio State, and Michigan's record wasn't great, but Michigan are a really good team. And Indiana beat Michigan. They hung around with Ohio State until late. I think a lot of people are kind of dismissing Indiana, Scott. I think the game's going over the number. And I lean Notre Dame to survive and win, but I'm not in love with laying 7.5 with the Irish here in this game.
All right, tonight in L.A., you've got the Chargers and Orange Sherbert taking on Bo Nix and the Broncos in a huge game in the West.
Yeah, big-time game. You know, both these teams, new coaches, right? Sean Payton, second year, can get the Broncos into the playoffs for the first time in 9 years, which would be very, very impressive. And, you know, Harbaugh's done a great job. This is a really tough one, Scott. I didn't think the Chargers should be 3-point favorites. They're not anymore. It's 2.5. This is kind of a line in the sand game for the Chargers to stop the bleeding. But as you and I talked about it, they're still going to make the playoffs anyways, even if they lose this football game. I've got to go with the Broncos plus the points here, even though I'm a Harbaugh fan. And Harbaugh and Payton don't like each other at all. If you guys remember, we're going back a while, but when Harbaugh was coach of the San Francisco 49ers, him and Payton used to get into it a lot. They remember, like, they wouldn't shake hands after. Like, there was even, like, a little mini confrontation once after the game at midfield. So their rivalry is reunited tonight. I like that. I like when coaches don't like each other. It's old school. So this is going to be a smash-mouth football game tonight. Give me the Broncos plus the points. And I love that Bronco teaser. 7-point teaser. Broncos up to 9.5 and under 48, Scott. I think there's going to be a lot of running the football in this game tonight.
Yeah, that's a smart teaser with those two defenses, right? They both shut down. They don't allow scoring. I think it's going to be a violent defensive game.
Yeah, and it's not a playoff game, but I think it'll have somewhat of a playoff feel to it, actually. Right? You know, both teams are going to the playoffs. They're battling for playoff positioning to top each other as far as seeds are concerned, to potentially avoid this team or that team. Should be a fun, you know, listen, I don't think it's going to be a track meet and, you know, watch the famous last words, watch it be like 41-40 tonight. I think, like you said, it'll be a defensive-style football game, but we have two good teams. It's the calm before the storm, baby. Tomorrow and Saturday is where the party is at. Can't wait for the college football playoffs.
When are you going to get in on the Knicks and T-Wolves at all here tonight at Target?
Oh, yeah, we have the trade, huh? Reunited, and it feels so good.
Yeah,
what do you think?
They're
you think
laying
the Knicks?
3. Minnesota's laying 3. They've been playing really well lately, and so have the Knicks. So it's going to be a great game, and Cat goes back.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the player props here, obviously. Kind of in my, I don't know, Scott, my gut tells me the Knicks plus the points are the play. The Raptors are favored for the first time this year. One of the best teams against the spread in the NBA are favored for the first time tonight, Scott, against the Nets.
Yeah, the Nets will beat them.
I wouldn't let...
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
So, Week 16 starts tonight. Pain Day action in Lipstick City, Carver High. It should be a great game. On paper, it looks like, these two don't like each other. The coaches don't like each other. A divisional war, a lot at stake.
There is a lot at stake. It looks like both of these teams are going to be in the postseason. Denver can clinch their spot in the playoffs tonight with a win. If LA won, they would need a couple things to happen this weekend, and they could get in as well by the time Sunday night rolls around. But let's start with your boy Orange Sherbert, Justin Herbert, as we get ready. Charger offense, honestly, been sputtering the last couple of weeks since Dobbins got hurt, especially last week against the Bucs at home. Hoping things change tonight with the Broncos in town. Here's Herbert.
Yep, it's attacking the week as it comes and understanding that it wasn't our best effort and not the way we wanted to execute. But we got another great opportunity this Thursday. We got a very good team coming here on Thursday, and we have to be at our best. And it starts being smart with the ball, limiting those turnovers, converting on third down, especially, and executing in the red zone.
He's a badass and so consistent. Doesn't turn the ball over. The way they looked, though, against Tampa concerns me, obviously. I thought they played better against the Chiefs, for that matter. And they need this tonight. They got to rebound because this is turning into a snowball, Mike.
It is turning into a bit of a snowball, especially offensively. You'd like to see them maybe get some things going. Only 17 points. They've actually only scored 17 points the last 3 weeks. Now, they lost 2 of those games, obviously. 17 against the Bucs, 17 against the Chiefs, 17 against the Falcons. They're 1-2 in that stretch. And that Falcon game, they only had 17 because they had a pick 6 in the game. So the offense has not been good in terms of scoring. On the other side, we have Bo Nix and the Broncos. Very good rookie season for Bo. The Broncos, like we said, could clinch a playoff spot tonight. Not really on the mind of Bo Nix.
Well, it's, we've talked about all year, the next game's the most important game, and right now this is, what's important to us, and it's the most important. I think this next one would put us on track for where we want to go. So we have a lot of work to do. The job's not finished, so that's what we're going to do.
Listen to this guy sounding like a veteran. I mean, what is up there? The young kid. He's got it all figured out. Look, I think he's been good. I really do, and I've already said this, I'm not a Sean Payton fan, right? I've never been. He had his problems in New Orleans when they kicked him out for Bountygate, everything else. I don't really care about all the, he doesn't like Harbaugh stuff. That doesn't do anything for me. I thought he treated Russell Wilson horribly. I think he can be a real jerk. And then I'll say at the same time, I think he's done a hell of a job in Denver. I mean, I respect good work. It is what it is. I think the guys turned the Broncos around. He wanted Russell Wilson gone. He got rid of him. And they paid him a ton of money. And then he got himself Bo Nix, and he has turned that kid into a winner. And they have a great defense. And I just think that he's done everything they could have ever dreamt of him doing in Denver in short order in 2 years. In 2 years, he has them right where they need to be. And look, I got to be honest with you. I pray, I really do, that the Steelers play them in the playoffs. Because I'm going to that game, and I'd rather face them, believe it or not, and that good defense and that quarterback than either Orange Sherbert or Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, I'll take the rookie in a playoff game on the road, freezing cold Pittsburgh. I'll be there freezing my onions off. And it could be snowing. It could be cold, brutal wind, the whole deal. Comes right off those rivers. It is no joke. That open end is freezing ass. I'm anticipating going to the Bengal game on the 5th and then going back there the 11th and 12th. Freezing ass. I'm preparing for it. I'm doing calisthenics, as Carver High often does before big events. And I'd rather face them than those other two. I'll tell you that much. And I think you'd probably agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Bills don't get a bye, which I don't think they're going to at this point, considering the things that have to happen, that's the team that I would like to play the most. There's no question about it. Although, you know what? The way the Chargers' offense has been, I don't think I would be too scared of them either, honestly. I don't think that I would. Because, at least for my team.
Orange Sherbert.
Yeah, I know, but they don't have anything around him. They just don't have a lot of high-quality pieces around him.
I'm at the game. This is what I remember about him. So I'm watching the game, and I'm there. It's 95 degrees. I'm like, God, I'm dripping. I'm soaking wet.
It was hot that day.
And every time that guy got in trouble, like right before he's about to have his head taken off, literally seconds before he's about to get crushed, he gets rid of the ball. And every time. And he takes the shot. He's like getting ready to get nailed. And then he's like, whoop. And he gets it to the receiver every time. He was starting to cook that day. And then he got hurt. And he left the game at halftime. And that's why the Steelers won the game 20-10. They were going to lose that game as sure as I'm sitting here because he was hitting every receiver he threw to. And he had it down to a science. About to get TJ Watt's about to kill him. He's diving toward his head. And he gets rid of the ball and throws it 12 yards. Guys wide open, first down. I mean, it was right down the field. They were going right down the field. I'm like this. Oh, God, this guy's going to beat us today. And I'm soaking wet. I'm sweating. It's 95 degrees. I go, I can't have it. I go, get Carver High on the phone.
Let's go. This is 2.5 still for tonight. Chargers minus 2.5 with a 41.5. Remember, I gave you that as I do every week. Broncos, the best team against the spread in the NFL this season. The best.
Oh, the stones I have to have here to go with the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers. They have to win. They've lost 2 in a row. They're at home. They're desperate. I like desperate teams. They got a great quarterback. They got a good defense. I mean, show up. Show out. What's the problem? And then everyone, the Broncos are the best. The best spread, best defense, they're just so great. And we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
I am. I know I told you earlier in the week I like the Broncos, and I still kind of do, but I think the game really is a toss-up. I think it's a coin flip game on both sides. What I really like tonight is I like the under. I think you got two of the best defenses in the NFL. I think it's going to be a bit of a blue-collar game. Not going to be a ton of points. So under 41.5 is where I'm going to lay my head for that. I do have some player props for you, though, and there are. You got a couple people looking for some overs here because these numbers are very light because of how good the defenses are. Bo Nix under 20.5 rushing yards. Kimani Vidal over 1.5 receptions. Gus Edwards over 34.5 rushing yards. Vidal again over 11.5 receiving yards. Gus Edwards over 10.5 rushing attempts. So a lot of the Charger pieces there with those overs. I do like the Gus bus. Vidal Sassoon for it. So yes, Vidal Sassoon. And I like the Gus bus. Forget all that nonsense. I'll give you a better one for the Gus bus. Let's go. The tutties for tonight. Maybe even the first tutty for tonight. Let's get on the Gus bus at 7-1. Let's go, baby. His number's pretty good anytime, too. It's in the 150 range. Cortland Sutton at plus $1.60. And I'm going one deep ball for you tonight. I don't like a lot because I like the under. But we're going to go with one deep ball. This Will Dissly's been out the last couple weeks. That's hurt Orange Sherbert as well, his tight end. So this guy that's been filling in for him, Herbert's been looking at him, and maybe we can get him in the end zone here. Your boy, Stone Smart at plus 550 tonight.
I'm so smart.
We get Stone in the mix tonight in the end zone at plus 5.5, 550. Let's go.
We get Stone tonight, and we just need to get him into the end zone. Stay away from the
Let's go. But Gus Bus and Stone Smart and Cortland Sutton. That's where we're going for the tutties this evening. Chargers and the Broncos.
Speaking of reefer,
Thursday
the young gun is got the over-under right now. It's 5 p.m. Eastern. He's still sleeping at literally 20 to 4 in the East Coast.
Come on.
If you can go to 5 p.m. without ever getting out of bed, that is an incredible effort.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Bobby said the young gun was working on a 14-hour sleep bender. Like, I woke up today, I told you I wear this CPAP machine, right? And I have the nose one now I use. And I had water just blasting into my nose. And it was like 6:40 in the morning, and I had water shooting all over my face and in my nose, and I started sneezing like multiple times. I haven't heard 34C talk to me in bed in like 10 years. She went, "Bless you." And I went, "What?" And I sneezed again and again. And then I was like, F it. I'm up now with all the goddamn water on my. And then I was up, and that was it. And I slept like 5.5 hours. And if I get 6-7 hours, it's like a holiday. It's a miracle. This dude sleeping 14 hours. I said to her today, I had something I needed to do on the computer that I didn't understand how to do, like scan and send something. And I was like, God, I got to wait for this kid to wake up. I go, he's like a mummy in there. He's like a mummy in bed. He's not waking up anytime soon. I go, the over-under's 5 p.m. She's like, it's a pasta night. I go, screw him. I'll eat pasta. Let's go.
Like, I remember those days, but I don't think I ever slept till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, I remember the days where I'd be out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd sleep till 11 or 12. I don't think I ever really went that long. 11 or 12. And I'm talking like 19, 20, 21, 22 years old.
My dad would have beat me.
That's the thing. Like, and my dad was at the shop all day, but he'd be like, well, what the hell is this kid doing sleeping? Like, you can't be sleeping at 11, 12 o'clock. Like, you just can't be having it. 5 o'clock. Like, that is.
Did Liz used to give you the business when you'd be sleeping? Your father's going to come home.
She didn't care, but she didn't care. But it was more on the other side. It was, what are we doing here? Like, get a job. Is pretty much what it came down to. Let's go to some of the stuff for this weekend aside from tonight, NFL Week number 16. As we discussed yesterday, Kirk Cousins out in Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr. in. Here's Kirk yesterday. Of course, he had to go to the podium and face the music that he's been chopped as the starting quarterback in Atlanta. And I loved it. Raheem Morris gave the whole, he's such a true professional. He really took it like a pro. He's a great father. And blah, 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 blah. You love him so much, you chop him. You love him so much, he's out as the starter. Here's Cousins talking about being sent to the bench.
Coach let me know yesterday that going to make a change at quarterback.
He's recapping the day.
Pro football, and there's a standard that I have for myself, that the team has for me. That unfortunately, I wasn't playing up to that standard consistently enough, and so it is what it is, and you roll with it, and now you still get ready, one play away kind of a thing, and support Mike, and just try to help our team be able to find a way to win these last 3 to get in the playoffs, and that's what it's all about. So that's my focus, and take any questions you have.
Who's he kidding? Here's the deal. I wish there'd just be a coach. Ditka used to do it this way. He'd say, this is, big boy stuff. This is the NFL. People get cut. People get benched.
Well,
we don't have time for any of this crybaby stuff. He's out. Done. He didn't get the job done. Let's stop with all this other. He's a great guy. I thought Raheem Morris was pathetic. I just wish someone would say, he threw 9 picks in 5 games, for Christ's sakes. How many can he throw before we have to make a move? My neck's on the line, too, over here. This guy's making me look bad. That's what I would say.
Those days are so over. Like you're right. They use Ditka and Parcells, and these guys used to just tell you, this is how it is. This guy, he's just not getting the job done, and he's out. We're not going to treat these guys up. But nowadays, you gotta be nice to everybody. Landing. You can't say anything. A little soft. He's a great family man. What the hell is he being? Of course he's a great. There's a lot of guys who are a great family man. He threw 9 picks in 5 games. What are you gonna do? He's out. You don't have to talk the guy up. We know he's a great guy. All right, he's a great guy. He sucked though at quarterback. He's finished.
Listen, I'm not a great family man. I have been told unequivocally. At one point, they said, she said, well, what do you have to do still for Christmas? I said, I spent a nickel on you already. So I go, there's a limit here where I'm going to go. I said, I'm willing to go another 3 or 4 bills, but you've already told me that you have the item that I was going to get. You just got a new pair of those. I said, so let's just stick at the nickel. She's like, whatever. I go, I think I did a nice job. I got 3 or 4 pieces. We're good here, right? She gets everyone 90 gifts, and I get people nothing. I get 3.
Yeah.
Carver High Mafia are so awesome. They send me holiday photos. I don't even know what that is. I don't know. I'm a jerk. I have full time. You got to have, people say, you're a family. I'm a family. I love the Penguins, the Pirates, and the Steelers more than my family. I put Indiana basketball on that level. Certain food I put on that level as well. As Carver High, we did it the other day. Rating food over family. Sometimes you have to make strong decisions.
We'll do another fact check on you here. Remember, you put basketball sneakers ahead of your family the other day too. So you have basketball sneakers as well.
What would a Christmas be without me getting at least 2 new pairs of basketball shoes that cost over $200 a piece? I mean, honestly, what would a Christmas be if I didn't get a new holiday season basketball? I mean, honestly, these people have to understand what I bring to the table here. I say, I will buy anything for you. Just do not bother me. I am busy. Last night I had somebody giving me the business on the phone. I got so mad. And then 34C said something to me. I said, I've already reached my limit for the day. I'm not having any more business from you either.
People are buying in on Penix. 7.5 yesterday, 8.5 today for the Falcons. 8.5 with a 42.5 for this Sunday in Atlanta.
8.5 if the Giants were trapped in a cage and couldn't get to the game. There's no way they're covering 8.5. They suck. And now they're starting a rookie. No way do they cover 8.5. It'll be the worst game ever. It's literally going to be 10-9. It's the worst game ever.
It could be a bad game. It could be a bad game. We will come back.
It's already a bad game.
It's already a bad game. We'll come back and hear from the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell
Wilson. How about
Wilson.
the guy that flies the plane over the Giants game stadium?
He's getting a lot of juice.
We're not going to stop.
A lot of juice.
He's better than the game, that guy.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I want the mid-major teams. I want the A-10 to get 3 bids. I want, the Missouri Valley Conference to get an extra bid. I want these teams to go ahead that are 1-bid leagues and give some of these other teams opportunities to make the NCAA tournament. Simply put, folks, when we get to the tournament, we don't care about all these teams that are big-time teams.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, you said we were going to hear from the Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson next.
Yeah, I think that's where we should go. I will tell you, before I just saw official TJ Watt is going to play. They took him off the injury report today, and he is going to be in there against the Ravens on Saturday. So nothing to worry about on that front. Of course, Russell Wilson will be in there as well. Steelers got to do what you say. They got to stay focused on here. Second meeting against the Ravens, big-time matchup, division on the line. You got to get everything in order.
Yeah, I think first of all, we got to be able to calm the nerves early and the excitement, and to be able to, play and think clearly and efficiently and effectively, but yet play with an edge. I think that's really important. I think also too, we got to do the fundamental things. We got to make our layups. We got to hit them. We got whether if it's passing or running or making our tackles or special teams or whatever it is, and then ultimately knowing that this is a playoff matchup, and so there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. As you guys know, I like to always say, just stay neutral. Don't get too high, don't get too low. It's a 4-quarter game for a reason, and we're going to battle our way through it.
Listen, here's an idea: don't spend the entire day arm tackling. Like they missed 50 tackles last week in that game in Philly. It was embarrassing. Guys were dead to rights, 5 yards from a first down, and they busted moves and got the first down every single time. I've never seen anything worse in my life than the arm tackling in that game in Philly. I mean, hit somebody for Christ's sakes. Honestly, that's what they got to do. And, don't fumble the ball. Najee fumbles the ball. They blamed Wilson for that fumble, by the way. He got the fumble. That was a perfect pitch. Those people are idiots. He dropped the ball. It was a perfect pitch. I don't know how many times you got to watch it. They have to do what they do against Baltimore, which is they usually beat them. And they need this. And they lose this one, that's another double-dip loss. They lost 2 in a row before. Here they are again on the cusp of it. So I'm very nervous about this game Saturday in Baltimore, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I did see Harris say yesterday that he should have been credited with that fumble. He doesn't understand why they gave it to Wilson. He goes, that should be on my record, not his. So even Najee doesn't understand. He screwed it up. He certainly did. Wilson also said in the Hard Knocks episode this week that he hopes to re-sign with the Steelers. So we will see how that goes. I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back with the Steelers next year. I don't think it's going to be any kind of long-term deal, but I think he's going to be back with them. I think Tomlin likes him and not a lot. In fact, you could see in the episode. I watched it again this week. Tomlin and Russell Wilson, Scotty, they love each other already, and he's only been there obviously just this season. But there is a nice love affair between the two. It's still 6.5 for Saturday and 44.5 for the total.
I'll take the points with the Steelers, but listen, they have to re-sign him. I mean, what are they going to do? I think one of them's leaving. My guess is it's Fields. They have to re-sign Russell Wilson, and just give him. I think somewhere in the neighborhood, like he's not going to make that money that he made before. Those days are over, but I could still see him getting $30 million per. That's it, 2 years, $60 million. Get it over with.
Get it over with. Just get it done and get him in there. Tomorrow, of course, because it's Friday, we'll have Mike Tomlin, as we always do on Friday, ready for this. We have to have Mike Tomlin. And I realized we'll get his words of wisdom next week on Christmas Eve because they're playing on Christmas Day. So a Christmas Eve edition of Mike Tomlin's words of wisdom, which I can't wait for either here on C2C. All right. When we come back, I can't just play this with a minute left. I got to do this Brian Callahan thing at the top because I'm sure you saw Callahan when one of the media members in Tennessee yesterday asked him to give an opinion about his team being soft. Let's just say he didn't take it very well. I will tell you before that they are going to bench Will Levis for what I guess this is the third time this year, maybe the third time. They're going to sit Levis down, and it'll be Mason Rudolph. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer will play for and it's Christmas week. Just in time for Christmas. They're going to roll him out there. Against the Colts in Indianapolis, where they're getting 3.5. So we will do Callahan when we come back talking about it.
I like Mason Rudolph way better than that hack-ass Will Levis. He's a hack.
Levis, he stinks. He's finished there. They've benched him a couple times now. I don't see how you can go back and keep trying. Maybe there'll be a spot for Kirk Cousins next year or somebody like that. Maybe Tennessee.
They'll go after Fields.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill, then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. only on SportsGrid.